All right, we got there. Okay. Happy happy Saturday. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Hope your weekend wasn't ruined by the last couple days of movements. Mine certainly wasn't. It's definitely stressful, but 100% all part of trading. Like you're gonna have your ups and you're gonna have your downs. I mean, we've had days where we were up 20 grand or more. Um, definitely had our fair share of down days over the last couple days, but even if we kind of zoom out to things, look at the last month or so and where we're at, I'm extremely happy. Um, Majority of our positions are still super safe. There was a couple that I made that I said were super risky. Don't trade this. When I say don't trade this, I mean it. Um, you know, there's there's yeah, I mean, there's definitely like risk in it, right? But if there wasn't that risk, then we would not have any room to profit. So, dude, awesome. Huh. Oh, did you close? Did you close everything like right before earnings? Dawn? Is that yeah? So I'm gonna jump right into kind of going over. Let's see. I gotta share half my screen with this and half my screen with this. Make sure we can grab chat where we need it. Hey, Destiny, Steve. Steve, you're always here unless you have sad things to do like funerals. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys for being here. Makes it fun for me. Um, and I'm sure as weeks go on, it's going to get more and more fun. We're, oh, yeah. Am I moving away from Robinhood? So, great question. Yesterday, obviously, I was pretty upset and pretty pissed and put it all on Robinhood as far as what happened. Um, Reading through things a little bit more, and I know it's probably going to take a little bit of time for everything to come to light. But at this point, I think that it's not 100%, and it may not be Robinhood's fault at all that they limited it. I think they had to due to cash flow issues with the clearinghouse through Citadel, because they're facilitating our side of the trades, and then Citadel they send all their trades to a market maker, and the market maker deals with the street side of things, and that market maker is who allowed um, the whatchamacallit, the hedge fund to basically get in over their heads, right? They allowed them to make trades that they shouldn't. That's how they ended up way overextended. I would totally I would watch this video. It's Louis Rossmann, and last name is Rossmann. He's typically a MacBook repair guy, very smart guy, very analytical. Um, and at first he was kind of pissed off about the same thing. He has more of a background and a better handle on it, and goes through exactly what everything that happened, um, and also goes through an interview with Robinhood exec, and it's yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I don't think it's all Robinhood's fault. I think basically they would have ended up out of cash and not be able to settle the trades. It definitely looks, I mean, it looks like a conspiracy theory when we're looking at it just from our side and going, hey, we can't buy this and we want to buy this, right? But there's limitations. They have to be able to. Robinhood will instantly let you do trades. The clearinghouse, the market maker will instantly do trades, but at a certain point, just like when a stock rips up or rips down, they have to put a stop, right? And the reason that they're putting that stop is let's make sure everything is settled. The people who want the shares get their shares. The people who are selling their shares, they take into those accounts. So they take up, they're kind of the buffer. So at this point, I don't see a real reason to leave it. It's just, totally frustrating. It was totally a frustrating moment, right? Because we want to be on our side. We want to be on our side of everything. Yeah, yeah. Just reading through comments here. Yeah, Robinhood thing is just, that was crazy, and I think TD did it. I think the big thing that they did wrong was they didn't tell us the truth, and I mean people are way more sophisticated than they think they are. They didn't explain the whole situation. They just said, "Oh well, to protect you from making these unsafe trades, we're going to limit the amount that you can buy, and we're just trying to help you out." Where it was BS. Everybody who was buying GameStop at 300 knew exactly why and what they were doing. It was just, yeah, it was the wrong thing to say. They were trying to handle us with kid gloves and just kind of do it PR status, not really let us know what's going on. Oh yeah, AMC and GME, yes. You're planning on leaving. Yeah, it's tough. Like Robinhood is used by so many people. It is so quick, so easy to use, so intuitive. There's definitely some other options out there, but I don't think this is going to be the reason that this wouldn't be the reason I leave. The fact that they were not allowing trading in certain ETFs, I think that's pretty soon, was going to be the primary reason. But I also want to be able to, when I do a trade, because somebody's so familiar with the platform, I want that to be able to be shown pretty clearly and go, hey, this is how we're doing it. We're clicking down on this. We're holding this, because I mean, the first time you even use a new software, it's difficult, and to achieve what you want to. We're not trying to mine Bitcoin right now. So that little pop-up was the I have a few Bitcoin miners in my garage, and also this PC, when it's idle, it also mines Bitcoin too. So yeah, we all had Nas Life. We all had issues Friday with them trying to throttle the amount of shares that we were buying. So we were only allowed to buy, like I posted an example, I can only own, or I can only purchase one share, right? And it was like of Alaska Airlines, GME, AMC, there were several others, and it seemed like at the end of the day they were throttling it. So as it got closer to $15, which it looked like they wanted to hold back from that, they were allowing you to buy smaller and smaller amount of shares. And then as the end of the day came, like 5 minutes to closing, they allowed it again. The main, yeah, I want to move. I want to move the majority of everything just to TD Ameritrade. I mean, I own a lot of just equities, and I might as well just move that off of Robinhood. And the plan is by the end of February too, to just wipe it clean. I was planning on, and I still am planning on, just moving everything over, starting off with a $10,000 fresh account, so we can start from basically like ground zero, and build from $10,000 up. I also plan to do all my trades in tens, so that way somebody who wanted to do the same thing with $1,000, they'd be able to do it. They could just do a single trade of the same amount. Do I think, David? I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with GME. I don't put any stock into the RSI. I was just actually, I was looking at that, and in case you don't know, let's see, let's put GameStop up here, all big. Which one do we have? Nope. Let's see. There's our RSI, and let's change to GME. Am I in the way? I'm probably am. Oops, wrong. Boop. I'll stick my head out of the way. I mean, it's hit. Yeah, it's hit above 70. What did we hit? We hit 80, 78, something like that on the RSI. But I think there's certain times when you can use that tool and it's valuable. But right now, I don't think there's any tool, any indicator, or anything that'll be helpful to predict the future of GameStop. Much more do I think the market will dip? No idea. I mean, they say down Friday, down Monday, but I think we're gonna kind of even out here. I mean, it's just been a crazy week. Been definitely like a crazy week. It seemed to settle down a little bit, but then I believe it moved again after hours a little bit, but. And also, I usually see, most reactions are an overreaction, just kind of like as a rule of thumb. And like, you see news come out, you'll see something just like spike up, and then it'll kind of go back, and it may end up a little bit higher than it was, but not so much like where that initial spike or that initial dip was. Yeah, but so holding a bag on Nokia or any of these stocks, when you talk about that, like a lot of people bought into this just not giving a crap. It wasn't about making profit. It wasn't about any of it. It was screwing over the short sellers. That's pretty much it. I mean, I bought into it. I bought into it under the not to make a dollar, expecting to lose 100% of it, and I'll hold that. I'll pass that share. I'll pass those shares on to my grandkids. Like I don't. The purpose of it wasn't because I thought GameStop was a wonderful company. I don't really care to own Alaska Airlines. Like none of it. Naked. Just don't really care. IRA on Thinkorswim. I'm not going to. I have an IRA on M1, and I like that just because of that pie feature that they have. Destiny, I do think that was part of it. The reason that stocks dropped this week. I mean, we also had really bad COVID news. We have a new president that is, when he speaks, it's it's going to be a dark winter, and it's very negative. Some of it had to do with the Fed. It's not, it's super not cut and dry. And then there was, I think there was an artificial run up for S&P, for Apple and Tesla pre-earnings. Obviously, Tesla's didn't do as well. So I think some of that steam got blown off, and those are such a big component to the S&P. It started affecting other things. Yeah, exactly, baller. I do. I think the same thing with our accounts. If we trade on margin and we get screwed and our stock value goes down, we have to sell our positions to be able to cover that margin. I've had it happen, but I'll usually sell out something that's super stable. I'll sell some AT&T or just put some cash into the account. So you think brokers are just going to restrict stocks that Wall Street bets target once GME? I don't know. I was expecting the hype to die out. A day after it skyrocketed. I mean, can you imagine? This coordination is just insane. Like, like the group of us, right? There's only whatever 8 of us talking right now, and we'll go, okay, we're gonna each put in 10 grand, and we're gonna blow the stock up, and then seeing that 10 grand could be 100 grand if we pulled it back, and we don't. I mean, nobody across Reddit knows each other well enough to where they can't trust them. Like everybody has to keep their money in there. They have to hold on to the stocks. And how tempting is that if you bought a leaps on it, or you bought the stock, how tempting is it to sell it like at 10x, 20x, 50x, whatever time the price. And the fact that so many people are holding on to it and encouraging each other, it's just so awesome. I mean, that's what I expected, but that's also what the shorts they also expected. After that initial like run up, they borrowed more money, went back in and shorted it even more, thinking, yeah, this is a no-brainer. My girlfriend did it. She bought a put. It was the most hilarious thing. She mostly buys equity, but she saw it and she's just like, there's no way. I was like, you are just on the wrong side of this. The only good thing that was saving her is there was so much in volatility that the put didn't lose so much value, so she was able to get out of the trade. But I was like, you don't do this. And I think the put she bought was 4,400 or 6,400 or something like that. So she lost her butt on it, but at least still got some of it back. Oh, I didn't see, when did ARK buy in Tesla after hours? Was that the little spike? I saw that at the end. I figured she would. And that's actually like, that was the only thing I saw was right here, right before market close. I mean, they're gonna, Friday? Yeah, but was it Friday during the day or after hours, or do we know? The gay bears took over. I don't think we can say that. Yeah, but they totally were. They were trying to scare people into selling. And we have to realize it wasn't just this. It was, when they try to scare you into selling things, it happens all the time. When they're saying Wall Street Bets tries to manipulate stock, it's not. That's not manipulation, compared to what they do. Literally, there are things that I know just because there's only a few companies that I know really, really well. I don't spend 24 hours a day, and even if I spent 24 hours a day researching companies, there's only so much you can know about an industry or a specific company. And really, you have to work there to be able to to know all the intricacies going on. And then I'll see an article coming out, and it is just terrible, but it is definitely like a video saying basically they're short on it, or here's how this company could fail, or here's all the bad things that can happen, or this is why this new company is going to take over. And I would bet money that they're not legit, just like third-party news sources going, hey, this is something interesting about this stock, buy it, sell it. It's hedge funds, people, and they're billionaires, so people listen to them. No, David, AAL was restricted because that was another heavily shorted stock that people wanted to buy. And so, yeah, I think, how did they end up? I mean, look at that. I mean, that's what happened, right? That was from 16 to 30, and then it got restricted, so all people could do was sell. Nice. I would like to own $110,000 of Tesla someday, or 110,000 shares. Holy smokes. Yeah, there is a whole list on Robinhood of all the securities. There was like 20 different stocks that you can buy. I mean, so we know it was like Nokia, right? Here's that spike, boom. BlackBerry, I don't know if we have to zoom out more for that. This was already kind of going pretty well, but huge spike on that. Naked, like, look at these charts, right? You're a 40-cent stock, and now you're a dollar. Like, basically, you know, when you're up 100%, no news. I don't think there was any news on this either, right? This was just another one. People decided they were going to try to short squeeze. Yeah, and this like hit the circuit breaker like quite a few times. Yeah, there was no news on this. So this was another one. They just saw like a low float, and that's the target. It has to have a low float, which just means there's not enough shares out there in circulation, and not a high enough dollar amount to where a community could collectively buy it and push the price up. And you also have to see a large short interest on it, which is going to, that short interest, I don't know if you saw my silly little video with the blueberries, but basically what happens is those shorts, essentially, they'll remove like 80%, or with GameStop's situation, they removed 130% from the market. So simple law of supply and demand, when there's a short supply and everybody wants it, so that just is going to push pricing up. It doesn't matter, like, look at Pokemon cards, baseball cards. As soon as they're rare, those things go up. It's the exact same way. Think about it like old classic cars. They'll go for way more than was retail, right? And I mean, that's almost a great example there, because there's a limited supply. The supply actually goes down, like a classic car, like old Ferraris or something, old American muscle cars. The supply goes down over time, and initially it's a depreciating asset. You know, a car usually goes down in value, but one is popular enough and there's little enough of them, and you know, there may be 20 car collectors that want a specific car, and the price just goes up, right? Because you have to pay enough for somebody else to go, okay, I'll give it up. That makes sense, right? You can't offer them less. So that just pushes it all up. And this is exactly what happened with these spikes. Then they restricted some of these lesser known ones, like Naked, and I think American Airlines too. People just, you know, there's probably enough people just invested in it, seeing that it spiked and got out. It's not as popular as the GME and AMC, etc. Do I think the Wall Street Bets Reddit page might just get deleted if they keep targeting heavily shorted stocks? I feel like they might make it their mission to destroy hedge funds and big short sellers. Could. It definitely could. I mean, when the president of the United States gets his account deleted from, you know, something that's semi-public, I know it's a private company, like Redditors, sure. I mean, those guys have a lot of weight. Dude, you're welcome, Steven. You know, the same thing I tell you guys, the same things I have to tell myself. We're on the right side of things. It's all happened before. The going down part and losing account value is, I mean, it's part of it. Like it's definitely like attrition. If you can't mentally handle it, it might not be for you. But it's kind of like going through it a few times right now. We saw, this is like kind of some of the examples that I've seen or thought through. So we kind of know what's on the other side, even when the market's pretty down, right? We went through 2018, you know, with the housing crisis. We saw the stock market drop. It took a couple years. That was a much bigger problem, much more complicated problem, and we made it out the other side, you know, better than ever. We went through the initial, you know, when everybody was figuring out what was going on with the pandemic and there was a lot more questions, you know, we're all scared to go outside or interact with anybody. And now we saw what was on the other side of that, right? Everything recovered and recovered best, you know, great. It looked super terrible when it was going down. I don't think there's much more that they could throw at us at this time. You know, we're already pretty restricted in what we can do. We're already kind of seeing the worst of it, so I do expect some down days, but we know it's on the other side. Like, I feel like I know it's on the other side. But always check out the other side, right? I'm kind of giving my thoughts and how I think through things. It's always a good idea to hear some other side. I watch videos of guys who are doing technical analysis, and there's one guy, he's basically like always short, and he'll always give us technical analysis. Like this indicator is showing like we could have a 30% pullback on the S&P, you know, next month or whatever. But he's been saying it for, you know, 6 months, 9 months, years, or whatever. And yeah, it's just from my perspective, if I only listen to people that I agree with, that's easy to find, right? And I listen to those guys too, but I want to hear the other side of it. Otherwise, I'm just being blind and stupid. Yeah, you do know why you play so far from the money, right? 150 bucks out is pretty darn good on that stock. Definitely have a chance to lose some or lose it, but that's exactly why you do get punished for greed. I mean, you can see the ones that I did close to the money, but you can see as opposed to I have 100 different spreads that are $150 out of the money, and maybe 5 that are closer up there. And that's all stuff that I have learned the hard way, for sure. Hey guys, just a second grade teacher, a few years away from retirement. I'll need another source of income. Been trading for 6 weeks. Feel like I stepped into a battleground. Yeah, dude, awesome. Thank you for being a teacher. That's a tough job. I couldn't do that at all. But yeah, it's a great source of income. Yeah, you did step into a battleground. This last year, like, we've seen things we've never seen before. We've seen volatility you've never seen before. You'll see all kinds of things. So if there's a time to take advantage of volatility, it is definitely now. And thanks for showing up here. Any questions you have, I try to get back to everybody as soon as I can. So I feel like it's kind of like learning a new language. You know, you expose yourself, you can kind of get the rules, and all of a sudden certain words and everything start making sense. So a lot of what I'll talk about, a lot of what you'll see, you know, watch. There's tons of educational stuff out there. So watch a lot of it. None of it is going to click right away, for sure. But eventually it all kind of just starts forming, you know, just like in the language. Like, all of a sudden you can put a sentence together and understand it, understand the concepts. And the really cool part is they're really building blocks. They're, you know, we learn what a really basic call and put is, and the equity, and then all of a sudden we can buy and sell those in certain combinations to do just about anything we want, which is, I mean, as soon as you have a toolbox full of tools, you're not trying to do demolition with a screwdriver, right? You can't do demolition with the screwdriver. You can't screw in a screw with a hammer. But as soon as you get all those tools in place, you can do whatever you want. You can build anything you want, and you can definitely be as safe as you want too. So my core strategy is I sell about $150 out of the money on Tesla, just one particular stock. But I do it on other ones. but you can be as safe as you want. I could be $200-300 out, but I'm looking for a 20% return in a relatively short period of time. 20% a year is awesome. 5%, or 10% a year, like that beats most indexes. That beats most mutual funds. It beats most things. So if you're even farther down there, don't get greedy. Then you're pretty safe. And a 5% return every month. I mean, that stuff adds up. I don't know what you teach, but I'm sure you have some math skills. 5% a month, 3% a month, because that compounds every month. You just make a ridiculous amount of money. Okay. Yeah, vertical spread. So even though you figured out what it was, is your mind completely wrapped around it? Because that's the point. That's the point you really have to get to. That's why the Greeks, they're helpful to know and it's interesting to know, but at the end of the day, all of a sudden it will just make sense. You can see the volatility. Like this. Did I freeze? Jeez. Almost looks like I froze here. Nope, didn't freeze, sorry. But you can just see this chart right here. Like you can see volatility. So you know exactly what that's doing. That's pushing the options prices up, so you know when you can get a good deal, bad deal. Like AT&T, one of my favorite examples of low volatility, right? This just stays in this range consistently. Of course, yeah, we're what, 38. I want to zoom out even. 3 years. Like this is not a volatile stock, right? Low of 27, high of 39. So all that stuff will just make sense to you, and once you get it, man, it's super awesome. Any like small little things that you have trouble getting over, yeah, let us know, and we'll try to help out as much as we can. David, I didn't see Dogecoin. I've of course heard it because that's all you're hearing for these last 3 days. No matter what you think you care about, you're hearing about Dogecoin, Bitcoin, AMC, GME, and that's it. Cool. All right. Well, let me see if I can take a look at some of the actual questions I have. This was kind of main purpose, but hey, it may evolve into something else if we get enough people in here and we can just BS for an hour or so. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see here. So let's go. What's everyone's favorite indicator for timing market tops and bottoms? I don't try to time anything at all whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. I just see something going down. I know that's a good place to sell the other side. I see it go up, and I know that's a good place to sell the other side. I will play news. That is, news is something I do play like right then. If I see a specific company mentioned or they have an announcement, I'll play that really fast. IPOs, they've seemed to have the same pattern over and over again this year, so I'll play that. But as far as trying to time the top and bottom, no, not at all. I'll look at the RSI, like I do have that up here on the screen now, and we can see it correlate, but I am not, my strategy and what I am not is a day trader. Technically, I do fall under that just because of my trading habits and for like tax purposes, but I'm not trying to time each candle. I'm not looking at just these candles for like pattern recognition and playing off of that, or even the RSI or the SMA. You can see I have those three up on my screen. They're interesting information, but the heart of my strategy is just selling credit spreads. I know what side I want to be on. I know it's the correct side for me, and and it's very consistent, relatively safe returns. It just is. Stocks generally go up. Robinhood messed up your Dogecoin order. Dude, I remember when that thing was like a fraction of the pennies. It's so funny. I'll bet I still have a ton of Dogecoin in Binance. I for like 6 months I actually ran a bot on Dogecoin that bought and sold all the random coins. Pretty interesting. And then I just stopped one day. But I'm still mining Bitcoin. Yeah, that's the other thing, Stephen. I noticed the other thing that's been happening on Robinhood and a lot of the other platforms, just like in the morning, they've just been slow. What's up, Basit? There's an episode called Recess where kids started buying and using these cards as a type of currency. Towards the end, everybody had moved on from it. Interesting. Destiny, I don't know. Bitcoin is so difficult. Like I don't have a real fundamental belief in it. It's so difficult. So difficult with something that does not have intrinsic value. To put that kind of value in there. I mean, I've been mining it like forever and ever. From a long time, like back when you could use your CPU or like a little USB ASIC to do it. And oh yeah. But that's the hard thing is it goes up there. Like what is it actually being used for? I've bought a few things with it, like actually kind of dodgy things, I suppose. Like there's a couple games I play and I just want to buy an account instead of leveling it up. So I bought accounts with Bitcoin and Ethereum. But as far as like what's going to happen down the road, I just don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea to put a percentage of your portfolio into that, like, maybe a couple percent, 2-3%, like just in case. But I don't think it's going to be used as currency. More of a store of value. And then the thing that can happen is, like, depends on how far the government wants to step in. I believe in Europe they're kind of more supportive of it, but like in the U.S., what if someday they just said, it's illegal? Janet Yellen was talking about it, and she's like, hey, and that's our new Secretary of the Treasury, and she's saying, and she's basically saying it's used for illegal activities, which, yes, it definitely is. Like, if you're going to do something illegal, what are you going to use? If you need to get money out of the country, what are you going to use? It's the easiest thing. You don't have to have a big briefcase of, stacks of $100 bills. Yes, Destiny credit spreads are definitely safer and quicker. Buying and selling stock, yeah, it can be a headache. I buy and hold most of it, and some of it I do for quick plays. And I do have, and all the money I make from this is basically like income. And then I take it out, and I'll go just put it into long-term holdings too. That and cash. Not actual cash. How do you mine Bitcoin? What does that mean? So Bitcoin mining, there's a couple different ways. You can actually use your graphics card on your computer and you can mine coin. There's a company called NiceHash, which will put your machine to use, and it'll just mine the most efficient thing, the most profitable thing at that moment, and pay you in Bitcoin. And there's also equipment that's dedicated to mining, like Antminer. They are loud, and they consume a whole bunch of power, but these are Antminers. I have a couple in the garage. And then I have setups like these too, with a bunch of GPUs. So these guys are definitely like, they squeal. They're so loud. And they make a lot of heat. So what I did in my case is I put those all down in the garage. My place is 3 stories, so it can create a whole bunch of heat in the garage. We can open the door during the winter time, and all that heat just rises up to the other 2 floors. Don't have to turn up the heat. And when it's cold, you get to go downstairs, and then your car is like 80 degrees. So it's super cool. All right. Big influx of users on NiceHash. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, once it goes up to $40,000, it's profitable. There was a time when I was profitable. There's times when I'm not profitable, but I still get to use that electricity. It gets converted into heat. That's the big byproduct of it, and there's less of a heating bill. Yeah. On TD, I probably will not be using. I probably won't be using margin there because it's going to be the majority of me just storing all my long-term plays, and I'll do the actual like revenue generation. Either like the example will be in Robinhood, and I'll probably use Tastyworks as well. What percentage of my Robinhood account value do you use in credit spreads? I have, it's probably like a third or so of the value. Maybe 40%. Because some of them are spreads, and then I also will sell just like straight up puts, cash covered puts. Like I do that. I don't think I have one open on Coca-Cola right now, but I know I have a couple open on AT&T, because if it goes below 28, I'm just happy to add to that position since they pay 7% a year, and that's 7 times better than any high yield savings account or something like that. How much they cost for the miners? Man, for the miners and ROI, there's like, if I answered that question right now, it might not it might not be accurate tomorrow or even 10 minutes from now. So ROI, of course, is all based on the like how much money you're making, and also what's your purpose, right? So I don't calculate in the fact it heats my house too, but I mean that is a side benefit. But the ROI, when you first look at it, you can look at a calculation page, and you can put in the miner. It also depends a lot on how much you pay for power. I'm in Washington State, so near Seattle. I think we have relatively low power costs. We're like 10 cents a kilowatt hour. So some place that is more expensive than that, if you have 20 cents a kilowatt, your ROI is going to be, twice as much. That's why we actually have quite a few mining farms in eastern Washington because we have cheap hydroelectric power here. And how much do they cost? Oh my gosh. So like you can use, of course you can just use your GPUs. Like I have a 1080 Ti. Let's see. Let's see. Here you go. Do they show? So here's a bunch of different ASIC miners, and that's pretty cool. I didn't notice that they started putting the noise level on them, but yeah, I mean 80 dBs, right? Do they show the cost? Let's see, there's your income. So, I mean, this shows, $2,700 a year. And I know there's got to be ones that show the initial cost, but How much? Yeah, so like $4,600. So what is it? 2 years? So in theory, this would take, you know, a couple years worth of mining to pay itself back. But if Bitcoin went up to 100,000, then it's going to be much less. If it goes down, it's going to take a lot more. And the difficulty, as more people mine, and there is less and less Bitcoin to mine, so there's a finite amount, and that's why there's this value. So once all of the Bitcoin is mined, it's just done. Like it's a finite amount. And the other odd thing that's going to happen is people can lose it. Like they can have a wallet and lose the wallet, lose the key, forget a password. Somebody could own it that passes away. There's no way to unlock it, no way to put it back. It's just gone forever. And yeah, whether or not they're worth it, that's completely up to you. For me, it's definitely been well worth it. When Bitcoin was around 4,000 or 5,000, it didn't seem like it was so much. So even like the value of the Bitcoin I had was going way down. Because I started doing it before. I did it on a very small level for a while, and then 2016 or 17 is when I started buying more equipment and getting really into it and kind of building that up. And then it became extremely profitable when it was looking like it was $18,000, $19,000. Yeah, and then of course went right back down. How much Bitcoin there is? There's 21 million, right? Yeah, 21 million. That's how much there is. It's all public, and you can see exactly how much there is. There's 21 million Bitcoins ever going to be created total. They're not all done being mined. Oh, and what exactly is mining to? I guess I need to step back because I know if you know nothing about it, what are those machines doing? They're doing math problems. So that's the way you unlock additional Bitcoins, are doing very complex mathematical equations that it takes a ton of hardware to do. And once it solves this mathematical equation, you get rewarded by Bitcoin. And I believe there's either somewhere between $2 or $3 million, 2 or 3 million Bitcoin left. So the majority of it's already been mined and it's out there. But it's that portion, how much is there? You can see transaction. That's all something you could look up. And everybody would have that information. So let me see if I can get through another question or so. Okay, favorite indicator. I have none. Oh, and yeah, I was asked like opening up like a short term. It was Ben Trader asked me. I was thinking about opening up a short term credit spread, and this week is an example of why I do not open them up short term. I open them up. That 6 weeks is a great amount of time in my mind to open them up, because then you have plenty of time to manage them, push them out. If we had something right up against the price, so if we had let's say 845, 850, somewhere in there, and it tanked down really quick and we were only a week out, there's no more extrinsic value left. There's just not enough value to be able to push that out. It's just going to be super expensive to push it out. Where in 845, something even above the money right now still has value because we have weeks left on it. So you still have value there to be able to roll things out. How much has been mined? So I think it's like 18 million. That's just a quick how much BT? Let's see. That's okay. So 18.5 have been mined. Yeah. So that's yeah, like 2.5 million left. But as we get more and more mined, it becomes more and more difficult to like think about like the initial math problems were pretty simple, and as you went on, the math problems get more and more difficult. So like the last 10 Bitcoin are going to be ridiculously difficult to mine. Yes, the ASICs will be totally useless for mining Bitcoin. There's typically other coins, like all those coins are mined in a similar fashion. So as long as it's using the same algorithms, you could switch it to another coin. So you can mine other coins with it. But as far as BTC or Bitcoin, they'd be worthless. And that's why. And that's also why I like using the graphics cards, because a graphics card should have some value. You know, a 1080 Ti still has value even after it's produced money. Yeah, you have to go. Oh yeah, and okay, now we're back to spread. So yeah, you do have to go pretty close to the money, on a 1 week spread in order to make something that's worth it. Otherwise, you're sticking $500 on the line for like a $10 gain, which is that doesn't make any sense. But if you're to go way super far out of the money, at least you have some income, right? Take that $500 collateral, make $5, which is still, you know, still something. It's 1% on your money. But when I just think, do I want to risk $500 for $5? I will say no. I would pick up the change on the street. How do you get naked calls? Well, they're not going to let you do, like, you can buy a call. If you don't have them available, you need to unlock options. There's probably a million tutorials if you Google that, or look on YouTube. I don't remember exactly how it was done, but basically you have to say, yep, I'm familiar with options, I know what I'm doing, and I'm willing to take a bunch of risk, which is what we're doing. How much do I allocate for option writing in my portfolio? Maybe like half, something like that. Initially, all of it. So when I started off, I did all of it. That's all I pretty much did was options. And then slowly I take some of that profit and then I buy an equity with it. So that way, long term, a year later, I'm sitting on hundreds, thousands of shares of different things. And even though that could go down, options, we can go to zero. We can lose 100% of that. But my AT&T stock, my Coca-Cola stock, that's not going down to zero. I could lose 20, 30%, and at least I still own something at the end of the day. Ben, what's up, man? You got options on TD by chatting. I don't even remember how I opened mine. When I'm opening up the account for my LLC, they just have boxes to check when I send in the paperwork. Do I know if I still have to pay short-term capital gains tax if it is your only source of income? Yeah, you do have. Yeah, you definitely still have to pay short-term capital gains tax. Doesn't matter if it's your full-time job or not. The only way to avoid it is talking to your tax professional, and this is what I'm doing. I'm going to shift all into an LLC. The money that I trade on Robinhood is not eligible for that. That'll still be taxed at my normal short-term capital gains rate. But my TD stuff will be in a separate account, and I'll be able to count that as ordinary income instead of paying 40%. Where do I get my information? Dude, all over the place. From YouTube to Twitter to, TD Ameritrade has tons of news resources. I listen to, there's a couple like live traders and stuff that kind of have news feeds, so bunch of them. But the stocks that I want to buy and own, they're ones I know. So it's, I'll play a little bit in some of these lesser known companies, um, but the majority of things that you want to own for long term, it doesn't make any sense that you would buy something, like it doesn't make sense for me to have a long term position in BNGO. That's not something I'm familiar with. If we go through like my major holdings, they're all stuff I've either spent money on um, or like I own. So like AT&T, I probably have a dozen AT&T phones in here. Use their cable. I use their products. Tesla, I own a Tesla. I drive a Tesla. Let's see what else. Coca-Cola. I drink Coca-Cola. Use many of their products. My girlfriend loves to drink Red Bull. Coca-Cola product. What else? I mean, Johnson and Johnson. You use that if you have to. Kimberly-Clark. We all have toilet paper, or we write on paper. Like all these companies, 3M. They're all stuff that we know, and that's the stocks I honestly think that you should own. Feel free to do whatever you want. This is not, I'm not advising you on your portfolio, but at the end of the day, like what you kind of hold long term should be stuff that you believe in for the right reasons and you want to hold, and you like that company enough to see it through its ups and downs, and don't really care. I don't, and which is the case for most of the stuff that I have. Tesla goes down to half. I don't care. I believe in their mission, believe in the company. I own their products, love their products, and that's that. Which is my biggest holding. Not only I have it in my Robinhood, I have it in my M1, and I think I have it in one TD account, and on Tastyworks. I mean, well, I don't think I own any shares on Tastyworks, but that's what I like. Ben Trader, what did you do? You rolled your Tesla spread up, and now it's close to the price, but April, nice. I just stream on Saturdays, so usually around 1 p.m., 1:30. That's Pacific Standard Time. I live in Seattle area, and yeah, and then throughout the week, you'll kind of see updates on my portfolio or me screaming about not being able to buy a share of BlackBerry or Alaskan Airline or just whatever random stuff I want to talk about. My plans for this next month or two, I want to go through a really more basic than usual kind of options education. I know most of you guys probably understand it, but I really want to get into the very fundamentals. Starting my first one I'm going to do is intrinsic and extrinsic value on a call or put contract, because I think really understanding that is an important building block on understanding the calls and the puts, and I think that's kind of breezed over really quick a lot of times. Let's see. What should you do when credit spread is already in the money? So if it's in the money, depends. I don't know how much time you have on it. If you still have a lot of time on it and you think the underlying is going to rebound, you can just wait it out. Also with that time, you could push it out. You could push it out and down. So I don't know what strike price is and what expiration date we're talking about. Or, and I also don't know what you opened it up for. So I need a little bit more information to see what I would do. But generally, if there's something in the money, if it was like, hey, this was a one stupid play, I might just close it, forget about it, might let it expire. If it's an amount of money I want to protect, and I'm fine with carrying that collateral over, like let's say it's a $100 collateral. What do I care more about? Do I care more about protecting this collateral, moving it out, or can I do something else better with this $100 collateral and just close it out at that point? I use multiple accounts because I use them. I use them to kind of separate out my parts and pieces, right? So my Robinhood I use just like daily. I'll make 20 trades a day on there. It's mobile. It's super easy to use. It has a lot of features available. Like Webull didn't have options available until, you know, I guess like 2-3 weeks ago, which I didn't know. And even when they did, they didn't have spreads. So now they do. So that's another option. And then generally the other mobile platforms, since I'm out a lot all day, they're not as fast. So I use that for that. I use it for that. I use M1 Finance that holds. I put some dividend portfolios in there, and I use those for things I'm just going to hold for a long time. But they have the ability, you can build up a pie and say, I want a certain percentage allocated to each of these stocks. And what's really neat is you can either make continuing contributions, and whatever stock is down, you know, in the whole pie, it'll add to that position. So as time goes on, you know, you have, let's say you only had 2 stocks, this one's up, this one's down a little bit, so it'll buy that. And the next, you know, next month maybe this one's up. So it kind of brings everything to even keel. And then it also has DRIP, which is dividend reinvesting. So it'll take the dividends from those stocks that I'm holding in that portfolio, and then it will evenly distribute it through those stocks as well. So I kind of have 2 ways of bringing everything up in total. So this is, let's see, and I'll show you one of those. But let's see, I use Tastyworks because I was really interested in the amount of information that you can get by trading options. They have a lot available information from their platform. The guys who started Tastyworks actually were the guys who created Thinkorswim for TD Ameritrade, and then they left and did their own thing. And let's go to my, nope, not this one. And keep in mind, this is kind of like one of my, this is for fun. On this guy here. So let's see, because I use this for something else originally, so let's like look at least at a quarter. So this is pretty minimal amount of gains so far. So this is the last 3 months. I mean, we're up quite a bit just on the actual value return, but we have $100 worth of dividends. And this is a pie we put together, and these pay out. They should pay out almost like every single day, as far as the actual dividend activity. So you can just kind of see they're super fun. I don't know why. I know I don't make a ton of money on this, but you can see like January 29th, 27th. I add like just $25 here and there to it. Yeah, 47 cents, 40 cents, 18 cents, $2, you know, 70 cents, 19 cents. So it just keeps adding up over time. I created this a little while ago, and just something kind of for fun, and to see how this turns out overall. I mean, we'll see if we can beat the S&P on this guy. In case you're interested, let me. I know I can share this. I just don't remember how. Oh, share this pie. Put this guy in chat. Just in case you're interested, I think we each get like $30 or something if you happen to use M1. But I use M1 for that. M1 for that, and I think that's it, right? Just like you need more than 3 brokerages. It's ridiculous. I also have my IRA in M1, and a couple other things I do. Just one is one I just hold like blue chip long term stocks in, and it's also super easy to just create. Like, hey, I'm gonna make this pie and just start sticking money in it, and it'll put money in there evenly. And then I have um, one that is they're all growth stocks. That one's done phenomenal. So I think that's just about doubled in 9 months or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what a 403B is, but yeah. Yeah, it'd be super cool if you use my link. That's another $30 towards your retirement. Just saying. But it's nice. I mean, there's so many like pies available that they put together. Like, hey, I'm this old, or I have this many years until retirement. Here's what we suggest. I did that. I did that a while ago. I didn't like those as much, so I built my own pies. Homemade pie, pretty good. Didn't know that I owned a Tesla. Makes sense now. I put so much of your positions into it, but apparently it's worked for you. Yeah, I have a black Model Y. I can show it to you guys sometime if you want, but it looks like all the other black Model Ys out there, and I um, got the full self-driving and the better wheels, and I think that was like every option that I could get. I didn't get the tow package. Um, yeah, and I love it. And also owning it makes me know when some of the news or when people's new ideas are BS, like, oh, this is going to have 500 miles range, 600 miles of range. That doesn't matter. I drive I drive a ton. I drive a lot. And that range, the range that I have, I've never like it has never been inconvenient to have 300 miles of range. I usually only charge it to 250 or so because it's just better for the batteries, but I've never not once gone, oh man, if this only had more range, I could do this. No. It's like if you're on a super long trip, um, maybe, but I've gone on some like out of state trips on it and you just stop and charge for 10 minutes. Like it's silly. Option strat, is it? I'll try option strat. Let me, is it cool? I'll check that out. Oh yeah, that looks like super clean. Yeah, that option, the other one that I use, it definitely seems very like archaic, like it was coded a super long time ago, and this looks like way cleaner. But as long as somebody can wrap their mind around what's going on with it, I think that's the important thing. Did I trade GameStop? I did not. I bought some GameStop, and I am holding it, and I will pass it on to my grandkids. I have no intention in selling it, trading it, or anything else. That's it. Like that's all I'm doing with it. I wish I had, sucks because I had like some cheap leaps that would have been worth, God knows, hundreds of thousands of dollars probably now. But oh well, no point in trying to figure out what we cannot change. Okay, I have it all on TD, and it's distracting because I have stocks, leaps, options there, and yeah, yep, that is a very good reason to separate them out. And I think TD you could do multiple accounts, or you can just you can transfer the equities to a completely different account. But it is nice, like just to kind of keep like, here's my options trading, and this is what I've accomplished with it. Okay, yeah, I'll check out. Well, I mean, I've stopped using like the options profit calculator for a while now. I already know. It's kind of funny because like in the beginning you go from like, okay, I just need to understand this, and then you figure out there's so many technical things about it, and you don't really understand where it's going to go. And then now I just know, and kind of the minutiae in between, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care what it's going to do on a day-to-day basis. I know February 19th, I need to see it nowhere near $700, or I'm just going to roll it out, and at that point, I will roll it out and just gain as much credit as possible. So it's gone from like not understanding it to overcomplicatedly understanding it, and now what I need to know is very simple. You're holding a game put? Oh yeah, I don't know if you just got here, Ben, but my girlfriend bought a put. It was the funniest thing. So she trades almost like strictly equities. Doesn't really buy any. Doesn't really buy or sell any options. She tried once and just didn't do well. She didn't really wrap her mind around it. But she did the same thing as the short sellers did. Bought a put for, I think it's a February 19th. She's like, well, this is ridiculous. It has to go down. And then she calls me. She's like, I can't. Oh, maybe she bought a call originally, and then now she has puts, and yeah. But she was like, I can't sell it. I don't know how to sell it. And she didn't realize she had to put in she had to put in a price, and it was moving so dang fast that she couldn't. She's like, I don't get it. So she's like calling me, and I'm at work and busy and calling her back. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I think she made a few $100s on the first call, sold it, and then she bought puts, and I'm sure she's lost a few grand on those. So. Have I considered trading SPY? As far as put credit spreads, I have. I just rolled those out a couple days ago, and I do currently have some credit spreads on the SPY. You're holding gaming. Ben's, when's your expiration on your put? And are you getting nervous? And was it expensive? Shorted at 108, got called to cover. Whew. Yeah, dude. Shorts are gonna be screwed. Any plans for Monday AMC? BlackBerry, Nokia, GME, picked up. I don't know what PHUN is. $2.5. Nice, dude. $30. Oh, you have a 15 put? Was that a let me go back. Where was it? A put, a $15 put. Yeah. I mean, might as well, right? Yellow. At least you only spent $30 on it, and I know that's not a big portion of your account size. That stuff I don't mind doing as long as it's a small amount. But my girlfriend hears me say it all the time. I'm like, hey, even the stocks that she buys, I keep telling her like, buy little by little, like. And stupid plays, let's, take a few pennies and do those things. But overall, mostly you want to be invested in equities that we scale into. Option strat. Do you use that option strat, or you just kind of know by now, Ben? Let me see. We can get through a few more questions, man. We're going on for, over an hour now. Thank you guys so much for showing up. There's like, this is pretty fun. Every week seems like there's more and more. Somebody was asking about Theta token. I might buy him just because of my channel name. Buy some Theta token. And Cash Bobby asked me, can I make a video on a simple spread? Yeah, I'm absolutely gonna start at the bottom with just intrinsic, extrinsic value and build from there. A simple spread is simple, but not simple. Should you buy? What did X1 even do? I haven't even paid attention to that. There's been. Oh, that's right. I was like, that's the 3 year. I was like, holy smokes, what happened there? Well, in hindsight, it looks like you should have sold at 30. I don't know now. But no, X1, this play, and the reason I bought it, this was based on there are other companies doing exactly what this one does. They have a good balance sheet, but this one's market cap is way smaller. I feel like they have some place to kind of come into equality with the other ones. So I think this is an overall long-term good play, and I bought just leaps on this. Leaps, and then I sold against it, I think. I know the spreads now, but iron condors, I use it. Yeah. I should do more iron condors. I'm just obvious. I'm scared on the top side of a Tesla iron condor. I just know it's like Tesla, like as soon as I open one up, Tesla announces another 5-for-1 stock split, and then kaboom, and there. That was fun. But now that they actually have options up at $1,700, I should collect at least a little bit on that side. And there's guys that like literally they get their whole income from iron condors. I mean, I guess it's just probably twice as smart as what I'm doing because I'm only playing one side. Do I roll my positions out when they go in the money or close them out? I roll them most of the time, 99% of the time. I think that's about it. Dude, is that all we have? Awesome. And yeah, I think I'm about to probably end it here. Go get some more stuff done. Gotta buy some appliances. Just bought a house, so working on all that stuff. But one last thing, just about last couple days where a lot of us lost a lot of account value. One very big picture thing for me is realize how lucky we are, how blessed we are to have that much money to lose. I mean, it sucks that we lose it, but I mean, the fact that we have the opportunity to have a market available to us, to have the information available to us, and have that much money to invest, it's amazing. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. They're stuck somewhere without even that, right? They don't have $5 to lose, $10 to lose. So losing $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, and we still have a place to sleep, we have food to eat, we have a roof over our head, we have everything that we need. Most of this for us is like additional income, side income. We do it for fun. That to me is something that I love. I always just want to keep in mind. It's super important. So we're just all so blessed. We're blessed to be here. I mean, we're not out. I know at least you guys are not here. Like, you're not out digging ditches because you need a few dollars to put food on the table. You're watching YouTube. I'm sitting in front of a camera drinking my coffee. So, and it's still been, regardless of the last few days, we're still up overall, right? We still all have good lives, and that few $1,000s, I tell you what, it's not going to make a stitch of a difference. $5,000 over the course of a year, couple years, maybe it hurts today, but 5 years from now, you wouldn't even care. It's nothing. So, yep, just something I always keep in my mind. It's I'll share some more kind of like personal stuff probably down the road, which has really had me focus on that mindset. Just some of the places I go and things that I do. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Hopefully we'll see you next week during the week. Hopefully we have a better week. But all right, guys, have a good one. Yeah, dude. Hard work makes us all good. So, all right, you guys have a great weekend. Catch you next week. Let's make a lot of money.